About 300,000 people that are living in these camps. When I started going, I think it was around 225,000. Violence over the last couple of months has intensified, so that there has been even attacks in the internal displacement camps, so people that have already been displaced multiple times are being displaced again from displacement. It's just unimaginable that after 9 years, this is still happening. These refugees are going to be there, sadly, indefinitely. Again, dealing with the future right now and thinking about their education and what it means for the future, are we going to have to deal with it with weapons later? I think is very important. Jabal is this camp right here. So this last school year, Rahma did a few rotations through all the schools, going, setting up the library in a classroom, and then having students come in. The teachers would send them students, and then he would move on to the next school after a week and went around. Then they get out of school the same time during the summer that you do, but for them it's because of rainy season. There's a very heavy rainy season in this area. Over here it's very, very dry, but for them it's rainy. So the library has not been going over the last couple of months, but just right now rainy season is stopping, so Rahma's going to get going again. And you guys provided enough funding for stipends for Rahma for this whole next year also. So the library will continue. Rahma will continue sending messages, communicating, telling us how it's going, talking about how the students are learning, and you can send messages back. Again, that connection is so important to them, more than anything, that they get materially, just for them to know that there's a group out there, and they know about STF. They very, very well know about STF. So if you want to be in communication with them, we'll work it with Pam, and we'll be sending messages back and forth. And also, I continue going. We're going to continue to go. I'm going back in November. And I'm going to go also to the next camp where the second library was delivered to a few months ago. Umda Tarbash, who's a teacher at Camp Gozamer, who's that is just a short distance from Jabal. That's the second camp where the library is going to go, and I'll just show you Umda real quickly. He's this amazing leader. He sent these pictures. This is the result of the rainy season. So they're lucky in that they do get rain. Only these two camps get this type of rain, so there's vegetation, so they don't have to fight for the firewood and for water, like all the other camps where it's a huge issue, but then they get horrible floodings, and their homes just get flooded, and many kids also die because of the river that overflows. So it's other issues. They get to plant crops and do okay with that, but then also the negatives. And here's another picture that Umda sent during Ramadan celebrations. Here he is.
And Umda is a member of the STF teachers.
Right. So he'll be in communication. And here's Umda. Just quickly, I mean, he's an amazing man, and again, it's so easy to just think about the abstracts and about peace and about rights. But then you hear their stories, and here I had already known Umda for a couple of years, had been to his home, I don't know, maybe a dozen times, met his family, sat with him many times, but this time, about less than a year ago, all of a sudden, out of nowhere, he was just sitting there quietly, and then he kind of just took a deep breath, and then he started telling me his story of how he got to live in Chad, and how, well, first that, not everybody could escape the village when the Janjaweed attacked, and his grandmother could not get out, and there he, tears started filling his eyes, and I could just see him, imagining what probably happened to his grandma just staying in the village, and then the Janjaweed, killing her. But then him and two other leaders led 7,000 people in the long walk from Darfur to the Chadian border. And it was just an amazing story of going as fast as they could and dividing themselves into three groups. So there was one leader at the front, one in the middle, and then him at the back, making sure that nobody stayed behind. And it was just so fitting for him to be that leader, the one that kept everybody going. And at the very end, when the Janjaweed were about to catch them, they made it across the border, and there was a riverbed, a dry wadi. They made it across, and he says that at that moment, the river flooded, which happens over there. There is these flash floods, and then the Janjaweed could not cross anymore, and then the UN came. So it's just, almost like a biblical story. It's amazing. Let me see what else I have. So here's how we stay in touch with Rahma. We left a communication system out there, and like I said, Rahma knows about you guys and sends messages regularly. Here's a short little video that he sent. And here's where he set up the library at one of the schools. And he wrote, I think that's from the atlas that you guys sent.
Gabriel, I think I saw a talking dictionary there too.
Yeah, you can hear it. You can hear it. They love the talking dictionaries. They all want to learn English. Arabic is a common language. They all speak their own tribal languages. There's many tribes in Darfur. But this next generation of young people, they want to move away from Arabic. And you can kind of understand, since the government that is killing them, it considers itself Arab, and so they have a negative association to the Arabic language. So now they would really like to move to English. This is a photo that Umda sent during the Ramadan celebration, all of them dancing. And here's Rahma's best friend, Ali. And here also what the rain did. This is Ali's farm.